I'm doing
Nice.
sick. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let me just take a note for when this started. Now we have 20. Okay, so have I coached you before?
You have not. This is my first time.
Cool, man. We always like first timers. What are you here for, man?
So I've been playing Dota for a long time, and I'm really shit at Dota, so I'm hoping to get better.
Okay.
I'm 3K right now. I hit Legend 3 a couple days ago. I mostly play carry. I've been watching some of your coaching sessions, mostly for Jugg. And I feel like I have a somewhat decent grasp on Jugg now. The whole like Deadlane concept like changed my life. I'm not gonna lie.
Sick.
So that really gave me like a starting point for where, like, what my objective should be as a carry.
Okay.
So yeah. So basically, I have a couple Jugg games. One that I lost and one that I won, and I'm hoping that we can maybe learn something from it, or at least I can.
I ain't gonna learn shit. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go ahead and honestly, I do learn a pretty good amount from coaching people.
Okay,
But,
okay.
Overall, it's not like each individual session, but go ahead and link me the replays. The important thing that I want to point out to you and everyone else about me learning is that I realize when I voice my thoughts to you guys that sometimes it actually helps me clarify my own reasoning for things that maybe I kind of like knew, but I didn't really know why. I guess like I didn't know why I knew it necessarily until I voiced it to you guys. So the emphasis to you is that like all Dota is a mindset and making sure you're asking yourself the right questions and thinking the right things. That's all it is. Like that's all it takes to get better is make sure you know what those questions are, and with experience you'll get better at the answers. Like that's all there is to it. What's my role in the game? Where should I be pressuring? What should I be doing? All this kind of stuff. Like I mean, there's so many questions, but eventually, you get better at them. I will share screen. I'm not forgetting.
Okay.
2 for 2 today.
Rock on.
Okay.
Your band.
It's happened too many times. I probably won't mess up. What's your exact MMR? Is it just flat 3K or what?
It is flat 3K.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
I
making sure.
took a big dive. Yeah.
Okay. Nosedive for the best. Okay, so you're Jugg. Okay. So is this the last patch where Wand was?
No, this is the current patch. This
Okay.
is 7.14.
Okay, cool.
And that's another thing that like the whole wand change like fucked up my lane a lot.
It's fucked me up a lot too. So it's not just. Did
Okay.
you not know about it, or
So
in
no,
that
I knew
term,
about
or-
it.
Okay.
It's just
okay.
more like knowing like what I should be doing. Do I
Yeah,
start
no,
two
yeah,
mangoes
no,
now or like
yeah, no, it definitely okay. Just making sure. I'm like, if it's because you didn't know about it, that's one thing. But okay,
No.
so yeah, no, so I mean, 1 second. With the last patch, like before this patch,
Sure.
like we basically, as an entire community, were allowed to forget the concept of sustaining.
Yeah.
Because every hero just could buy a wand and a mango and have like 4 health regen and a wand. So you have like all the regen in the fucking world. Like how much more do you ever need? So that's basically what I've realized is like and this is what I point out to everybody is that every patch kind of changes what knowledge of things is relevant. And so it's kind of time for us to go back to realizing that sustain is going to be an issue again on a lot of carries. I realized that yesterday on Terrorblade. I literally mentioned, I'm like, when I'm farming, even just farming woods creeps, like mid-game, I used to have 6 health regen with wand plus the base HP regen of Terrorblade. Now I have 1.8. That's like...
Yeah, that's huge.
It's day and night, right? Every minute,
For sure.
Every minute I'm tanking damage. That's 240 health. So it's like, holy shit, that's a lot of health. And I saw it like watching Ame's Terrorblade against Liquid. I saw like he literally was in tower pushes after Roche for like 3 minutes, and he was like half health the entire time. And I'm like, okay, he hasn't adjusted either. So it's just like I was really laughing. I'm like, he's taking every tower at half health. Like Terrorblades are not used to having to worry about that because. I mean, not only with the wand change, but Terrorblade always traditionally had high health regen, so you just never had to worry about that. But now, suddenly, on these heroes, it will affect your items, and it's something I can't really dictate more than just saying I'm figuring it out myself too.
Sure.
But just know it is a thing to concern yourself with again. So are you against an aggro try, or what's happening?
I think it was.
Oh, it's a mid void, or is it mid? Is it
no? I'm
void
pretty
off
sure void was
mid
safe.
profit? No, mid sky. Okay, support.
Yeah.
Jungle profit probably. Okay. Oh no, it is a support profit. Okay. Okay, so you don't like going for those kills because it messes up lane equilibrium, but I don't think in this kind of lane, I don't think you actually have the luxury of like only worrying about lane equilibrium. If there's a kill opportunity, you kind of just have to go for it.
For sure.
And that's like a big difference between solo offlaners and dual offlaners. If it's like a solo offlaner, I'll virtually never do what you just did.
I gotcha.
But in like dual lanes, I think you pretty much just have to do this. And you have to just tell your supports to pull after, and if they don't, then so be it. But make sure that at least trying to instigate the idea that you guys got to kill it, push the lane, fix it.
Yeah. Okay.
But if it doesn't happen, then not much you can do about it.
You just deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you play passively against a dual lane, generally you're just going to give them too much. Like you're just going to let them control creeps and out CS you, harass you, that kind of stuff. So that's why for you and everyone else, like, the only reason you're killing them is because they're contesting you, right? So, like, as a solo offlaner, that's why you don't go kill them, because if you have 2 or 3 heroes and they're by themselves, they're not actually stopping you from CSing, so you just need to worry about CSing. But, like, in this lane, like, if you don't help your supports, they're going to lose to 2 heroes, so you need to help them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, obviously unfortunate that you took tower aggro there.
Yeah,
but yeah, the only major thing I've seen so far is really ensuring you tell your supports to go pull. It's pretty massive.
So in the event that they don't, like, I mean, in this case, like, what do you just kind of?
I even debate pulling myself.
Okay,
but
all right.
But I usually only do that if it's like 4 or 5 minutes into the game. At this early stage, you're kind of just boned. Okay, like
sick. Okay.
Like you're not gonna go pull it as a level 2 Jugg. Okay, like that's just kind of lane losing. But like if you already have like level 4 or 5 and then the lane's pushing, I'm willing to like at that point sacrifice like 2 or 3 creeps to go pull. But like early on, 2 or 3 creeps matters way more than at 5 minutes, obviously. Yeah. So it obviously still matters at 5 minutes, but if it means fixing the lane, then I'm still willing to consider it.
Okay.
So this is a spot where I don't mind you helping because you're not missing any creeps, but then you got to return right back. You missed 1 creep for it, which is absolutely fine. The only reason I don't mind you helping is because you weren't missing creeps, okay?
Gotcha.
So I want to make sure you and everyone understands why I'm approving that, not just saying I'm approving it.
Okay.
You end up missing 2, but it was really close.
I missed 2,
either way, it's when it's underneath their tower and it's pushed into their tower like that, you're not going to miss creeps because the tower's going to kill your wave. You're going to miss less creeps.
Sure.
Okay. So, lane equilibrium. Is this where you want it?
No.
Okay. So what should your mentality be this entire time when it's like this?
I should be hitting my own creeps.
Deny, 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 deny.
Yeah, yeah.
And deny. And deny. Okay. So, you see this? Why I'm...
Yeah. And then I hit that one.
This creep should never get hit.
Exactly.
Like, any offensive creep should never get hit. It should never
gotcha.
happen. You know what I'm saying? And what will happen is you'll slowly fix it. If the lane looks like this, it's slowly fixable. If you have like 2 or 3 range creeps, it's never fixable. Like, you can maybe drag aggro to your range if you have 2, and maybe slowly fix it that way. The only thing I can say is if you're slowly fixing it that way, especially against a dual lane, just don't sacrifice taking a ton of damage and shit to do it. Like don't allow them to harass you while you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like only do it if it's not gonna make you play like a pussy and lose the trades. Okay, like that's my point.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, so that's the only reason, right? So major thing here I see is that you have a ton of gold.
Yeah.
You're effectively net worth right now. You are at 600 net worth.
Shit, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, okay.
I see what you're saying.
So, this is pretty important. Boots matter a lot. They let you walk at the guy and right-click him. They let you creep aggro quicker, so he maybe right-clicks you twice instead of 3 times. They matter a lot, right? Like little items,
Yeah.
they make a big difference. So I'd say I personally really like treads this game because of Void and Skywrath. Like you're kind of just gonna have to tank things. Is how I kind of view it. So treads are also really good in contested lanes, as I mentioned in my boots command, because they simply can be purchased right away
at the side shop. Sure.
So this is a spot where maybe I would have, with 800 gold, flown myself in Aquila. I would have to rewind, but if I have the 800 gold for the Wraithband Sage Mask, I'm going to check and see if the courier is available. If it is, I'm going to buy the Aquila first. Why am I buying the Aquila first in that example?
So, yeah, that was actually what I was going to ask. Is you do that before boots?
Why? Why would I?
I don't know.
If I have 800 gold, the courier is available.
You might as well.
What? How? The point is, when may it be available again when I have 800 gold?
Oh, yeah, it might not be.
It might not happen for another 4 minutes. I have 800 gold and the courier is available. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna monitor. I know I'm choosing between boots and Aquila, but if I see an opportunity to deliver myself an Aquila conveniently, because I suddenly have 800 gold and the courier is available, I'm doing it, right? And that's just something that because at the end of the day, I can always go buy some treads.
Sure. Yeah.
They're always there available to me, so I'm gonna do that. Or like if I'm in Ursa. When will I buy boots before the Blades of Attack? If I'm buying phase. Similar to Jugg, I guess. When will I buy boots before I get the Blades of Attack?
If the courier is not available?
And if I need the boots. You know what I mean? Like, if I need them right away. Like, if I need... Like, the boots are nice right now, but they're not necessary. If I'm against, like, a dual lane as a carry, and they offer kill threat on me if I don't have boots... I gotta buy some boots, okay?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if the courier is available. I'm buying boots first. Like, it just doesn't matter. But in this lane, I think if you ask yourself, you don't need boots, like right away. You'll obviously need them eventually, but boots aren't gonna make you not die or suddenly be able to kill this guy or whatever. So it's just a matter of asking yourself how much do you need each thing, and then a lot of it's the courier because, like I said. Same idea with the side shop from my last session is like the reason why you go to the side shop when you can is because it may be a while again until you can. So first off, making trades like this with this is just
that's
nightmarish.
That's
so the way I look at it is, what does Aquila and treads do for you? Why am I telling you those might be the items? What do Aquila and treads generally do?
They give you sustain for mana, and they make you hit harder.
Yeah, so what can you do with that sustain and then hitting harder?
So that's when you can make those trades and like
you can make trades. You can just look to deny, right? Because you have more sustain, and you can you don't even mind like tanking some damage while you're denying because you have sustain. So you hit with the Aquila, you have 20 extra damage. So you just deny creeps while tanking a little bit of damage, and if you get 3 denies in exchange for a healing ward, are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, at the end of the day, we're okay with that. So, it's just one of those things where, that's why in the boots command I talk about, phase are for killing people and aggression, while treads are just for this, like, sustain battle. If you're in a lane where, like, the reason why I say treads are better here is because at the end of the day, I don't think it's a huge deal that you try to go kill this prophet. I think that once you get 6, you're killing him anyway. Like, the same way you'd kill him with phase, you're going to kill him with treads. So, and then against their heroes, I think treads are better just because they have a lot of stuns that you just need to be able to be tankier for. So you get your Aquila super late. Obviously, like when I look at this, I say the items are fine. It's just the way in which you went about purchasing them. I highly recommend just watching... Like, either understanding how important the two things I brought to your attention about side shop and courier, and then watching other players, or being able to learn it yourself. One of the two. Because if you watch, I learned this way back when. Like, this is a concept that I feel very confident on for myself now. I don't think I really ever mess it up. Barely. I learned it from Arteezy originally. He's like a player that he'll have. The first step is to have items queued up. So if you have items queued up. How often are you forgetting to buy something when you have the gold?
Like never.
Never. That's the first step. Like, it actually is a huge deal for anyone. Like, I literally in my coaching simulation course, one of my first videos was like telling you queue your fucking items up because if if you're laning, are you distracted?
Yeah.
You're worried about a lot of things, right?
For sure, yeah.
CSing, harassing, positioning, all these things. So the last thing you want to do is have to remember how much gold you have. It's very convenient when a little ding comes off telling you have enough gold to buy something. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So then suddenly you're looking for an opportunity to go buy it, and that's why it's preemptive to, like, the plan. So I usually have my Aquila queued up as well as, like, boots. And then, like, the minute I get the gold, what am I doing?
You're just buying them.
Okay, but if I'm choosing between Aquila and boots, what am I doing?
I don't know.
Checking where the courier is.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like a minute I'm like, oh, like what's my like in this case it's the courier, but in any example it's literally a deciding factor. Like what is the deciding factor? What do I need right now? How do I get like you know what I mean? Like it's just asking like in that case I gave you the question, but in every circumstance there will be a different deciding factor. Like a lot of times when I'm watching Arteezy and he's in these games now and I'm actually seeing other players do it too this patch, is that if they're in a heavy trading lane, especially melee versus melee, what components of treads are they buying first?
They're buying the strength belt thing, right?
What's better than a strength belt on Jugg for trading with treads?
The fucking Agi one.
Yeah, the Band of Elven Skin, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing is I did this in my you know we got time.
All right, let's.
We got time. So So this is like as contested as the lane gets here. This is one of my honestly, this is probably one of my best Jugg games I've played in a long time. So if you want to check it out, like feel free. It's in my Dota buff. I can also link it to you if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. If you could
but like this is a highly contested lane. But so my idea was I know the change to Sand King with denies. So does Quelling Blade help me with that?
Yeah.
To get denies, Quelling Blade.
Does Quelling not affect your own creeps?
No, it doesn't.
Oh shit. Okay.
So notice how I went for kills just like you, but notice how I'm also trying to correct the creep equilibrium first. But look at my first item, right? Boots don't do shit for me here. So I'm just getting a little bit of extra damage, and then I'm focusing on denies whenever I can, and then getting CS whenever I can. So it's like this is an example where notice how the second I got 450, I asked myself, what do I need? I have Quelling Blade queued up, but I'm like, oh, I don't need boots. Quelling Blade doesn't really help me all that much. I don't absolutely need one. Might as well just give myself better lane control, right? This is 6 attack speed, this is 7.5 attack speed and 6 damage. And so notice how like I'm able to control the lane better, and we go for kills still. Notice this is a dual lane. I'm just proving what you did. And we fix it as much as possible, and then I tell my supports go pull, and look what they go do. So that's you're seeing the little differences though. The point is I bought items the second I could. And
it's
going to
make 1,100 gold.
Yeah, right? It's you have to ask yourself exactly when. And these little trades matter, man. Like notice how I got into engagements right after I got that, right after I got that Band of Elven Skin, and these little trades matter. So it's like knowing what each little item does for you, having them queued up so that you have the choice. Because sometimes things unexpected happen. Meaning, when I say that, it's just like maybe you needed boots more than you thought you did. Maybe you needed a Band of Elven Skin instead of the Glove of Haste. Maybe on a Lifestealer, the Glove of Haste is the best, right? Like on Strength Heroes, I'd probably take the Glove of Haste over the belt on most Strength Heroes. Because, like, the reason why Agility Heroes like the Band of Elven Skin is it also gives you 7.5 attack speed, so... Like,
yeah, I mean, that's
it's good for trading. Like, raw HP doesn't really do much for trading, right? Like the belt of strength for strength heroes doesn't really do all that much for trades. But the Band of Elven Skin gives you more than 1 armor. It gives you 7.5 attack speed, and it gives you 6 damage. So that's like a lot for CSing as well. Lane control.
For sure.
And so that's all we're looking at. And the games where like I buy Quelling is simply when I'm not really contested at all. Or if I'm contested, I know I can't get CS without the Quelling because they have more damage than me. That kind of stuff. So, first fast forwarding, we already were here. We saw that you took this one, like, I don't mind the way you were playing the lane, other than the lane equilibrium that I already mentioned to you.
Right.
But the item thing's a major deal. Like,
that's huge,
to have your net worth reflect what your actual net worth is super crucial at all stages of the game, but, like, even more so in the laning stage, because that 1,000 is 2/3 of your net worth, rather than later on in the game where it's maybe 10% or something. Okay, so... Because remember, we're only as strong as our actual inventory.
Exactly.
So, you know, if your inventory has 600 gold worth, that's how strong you are, so you might as well have missed every single CS up until that point.
Right, okay, yeah.
That's how I look at it. Okay. So at this stage, I don't really want to be in lane against this guy, so I'm fine with what you're doing. I'm actually fine with this. You're even looking for kills. This is good. Okay, yeah, that's what I mean, right? You don't need phase to do that. That's exactly why I would have said. That's exactly why I said treads.
Okay. I think I buy phase this game.
Yeah, that's fine. All I'm saying is like, that's how I look at it, right?
Yeah.
Like in the lanes that I will buy phase on Jugg is when first off, I don't think I need the treads for sustain.
Okay.
And I think the kills will happen because I have phase. And they won't happen if I have treads. But like I literally pointed out to you, you can kill this guy without phase, and then that was before it happened, right? I'm not I'm not like I didn't look at this replay. My point is you can learn to predict these things. Like, do I actually need phase to kill this guy, kind of stuff. And right now, I'm sure you'd rather have treads doing whatever you're doing than phase, right? Like you'd much rather have treads. So if you buy phase on Jugg, are you playing passively or aggressive the near future?
You should be playing aggressive.
Okay, so if you're playing aggressive on Jugg, what's that going to require?
I'm going to have to run up and be in lane.
Okay, also, what resource-wise, what's it going to require?
Oh, mana.
So what item should I fly myself every time I fly phase on Jugg?
A clarity?
Okay, cool. I've used that in a lot of sessions, but like it's something about like, what am I planning on doing with my hero right after? Like, if I buy it can apply on any item. Like, the minute I buy myself a blink, maybe I'm planning on... Like, even if I'm leaving base with full health, full mana, but I have a blink on Tiny, I'm buying a clarity if I have the gold for it, because I know that blink is going to be me avalanche toss comboing somebody, right? So I'm going to need a clarity, like, after I do that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Even though I have Aquila, you still think clarity is a good idea? Just in terms...
Is Aquila enough to allow you to spam your spin and healing word?
It depends on how much I'm getting harassed, I guess, right? But
what can a clarity be worst case scenario? An extra spin?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or an extra healing word?
Okay.
That's like literally worst case scenario. And so
there's like no reason not to do it.
Yeah, you're buying 50 gold where at the end of the day maybe it gets you an extra camp of XP. Because at the beginning of the game, you're willing to trade 50 gold to get 50 gold.
Yeah, for sure.
Because maybe that 50 gold's an extra camp, maybe that 50 gold is you getting a last hit instead of them denying it, you know what I mean? So you're willing to trade, like that's why people ferry themselves salves and clarities in the mid lane, because even though they're probably getting the same amount of gold that they would otherwise, they are not only getting the XP because they're there instead of returning to base, but they're also contesting the other guy. Like, they're using resources to contest the other guy, too. So notice how, look at your health and mana, right? You're sitting back like this. And it's a spot where, I would have to rewind, but if you were not full health, I would have flown myself some tangos, too. Because I know against a hero like Prophet, he harasses a lot. But also, this is why it treads.
Okay.
Like, if you watch that game, just go to my Dota buff, it's my last Jugg game. If you watch that game... Like, I literally told people the most crucial decision I made that entire game, in terms of items, was my treads. Was treads. Because if I didn't go treads, what happening to you right now would happen to me in my game, and I would actually lose, like, in my game. Like, I would have been bullied out of lane, and it would have been really bad. Because it was a much more contested lane than yours. So this is something where, imagine if you had treads for, like, tread swapping. What if you are not full health, you should just go do this. Imagine if you had treads, and you just tread swap to spin. Notice the way you're playing, though, right? And that's why people ask me about the boots decision, and that's why I made a boots command, literally saying treads are for trading and farming. That's all they are. Like, that's what. And so if that's what you're doing,
then you get treads.
Then you get treads. Like if that's what you're planning to do. So that's something where in the future it's like maybe you didn't know ahead of time because obviously you're only 3K, so it's not like I expect you to have the same knowledge I do, but you can learn that in the future. It's like, oh well. I guess I just farmed. Next time I'll buy treads, or like I'll try to maybe try to understand why I bought or why I was farming. Like, why was it that I was farming instead of trying to look to be aggressive or whatever. What was the reasoning? Okay. My thought process is against heroes like Prophet specifically is I don't necessarily care about killing them. I care about out pushing them.
Right.
So, sometimes in order to outpush them on whatever hero I am, I need to kill them.
Yeah.
That's not the case on Jugg. Right? I don't need to kill them in order to outpush them. I can do that by virtue of items like Treads and Perseverance and Aquila, right? If I have Treads, Perseverance, Aquila, that Prophet is never outpushing me, ever. Like, that's just not happening. Sure. So I look at it that way, where every hero I look at, like, how am I attempting to deal with this hero? Like, do I need to kill them? Can I just outpush them? Can I... Like, wouldn't you like a clarity right now?
Clarity would be pretty
You're shrining and all.
Yeah, I shrined.
That would have been solved by a clarity. So I don't mind this rotation. I don't like the TP to. Oh, you never mind. You don't have a tier 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So the only reason I don't mind this rotation is because can you farm this?
No.
Why not?
Because it's all the way pushed up.
When could you farm that? And not in this game, but in any game.
If I had, like, supports with me?
Or you could just spin TP and get out.
Spin TP, yeah, okay.
Meaning you have a way out. You can farm that on any hero. On any hero, if you can get out, like, if I'm a Slark and they have no instant stuns and no, like, glimpse or anything like that, I can be there. Because if I see people, I just pounce and then look to pact. And, like, if I'm Slark, I'll always think one of the most crucial decisions on Slark is whether or not I can ult TP. Can they stop me from ult TP? And then that literally dictates how aggressive I can be anywhere. Because if I can ult TP in a Slark game, I'll fucking cut waves here at 10 minutes if I want to. Like, if that makes sense to do, I'm going to do it. Because I can.
Because you can,
The only reason you don't do that at 10 minutes on most heroes is because you can't. So it's like, on Jugg, I'm not usually going to play here. Or like on most heroes, I'm not usually going to play here. But if I'm Jugg against no spin TP cancels, I'd be much less inclined to do what you just did here. But because...
Even though that's the dead lane. Even though that's the dead lane, you still...
The dead lane's only dead because you're afraid of dying.
Okay. I got
you. Okay. Let me see if that person after you actually signed up, just so I know how much time we have.
Okay, yeah, no worries, you're good.
They never accepted. Okay. So our next session is... Okay. Yeah. Cool. So I'm gonna take some extra time. This is for everybody, including yourself. So
dude, rock on.
So we still have over an hour. I'm gonna take time. I'm gonna politely ask you to not talk during this.
You got it.
And then this is gonna be free for you, like, because I think it's very helpful for you because it's very relevant to your question you just asked. So I was gonna make a video on this anyway. We're going to take like 5, maybe 10 minutes to make this video, but we already still have more than an hour left for you. Okay. So you're getting more than your hour already, so I'm justifying it to you that I don't feel bad because you're already getting more than an hour. And you're going to learn from this anyway. So, okay. So, the point is, before I actually start recording this video for you, is that the dead lane's only dead because you're afraid of dying. And the point of the dead lane is that if you're a hero that's vulnerable to death and you go to it, you're probably going to die. That's the point. So, like, I emphasize the people that go to the dead lane in all in my games as well as my coaching sessions, that they're actually vulnerable to death, and they just walk into that lane and feed. And that's like what we're trying to avoid happening. And, like, that's why I mentioned the dead lane. So, have you watched my dead lane video or no? Just so I know.
So I haven't. I've just watched the coaching session.
No, that's fine. Yeah. So, do you know what the purpose of the dead lane is for you? Why do you leave the dead lane to go to the other? Like, why do you go to the opponent's dead lane? What are you doing there?
So you're just pushing it in because it's the safest place to be.
What's that effectively accomplish?
It gives you objectives when you win a team.
Pressure.
Yeah, pressure.
Is it not? You're making it so you're either getting an objective or they're responding to you. Right?
Exactly.
So that's the idea of pressure. So this is the question I always get to, and it's always repetitive for anyone who's here. If my job in the enemy's dead lane is to create pressure, why would I ever go to my own dead lane?
If you're safe there, or if someone's already pushing the not dead lane.
Okay, so if my goal is to create pressure in their dead lane, what's their goal?
To relieve the pressure.
Okay, so why would I go to my own dead lane?
to relieve pressure.
Okay, cool, sick.
Okay.
So the entire tug of war of the map is in high-level Dota, and this is actually an amazing pub for this, by the way. You should literally watch it back. This is a great pub. I think this is a top 200 pub, like, across the board. Obviously, no, it's not, like, perfect, but in terms of, like, not everyone's perfect, but this is about as good as a pub ever gets, okay? Like, there's, like, 5 professional players in here, even if they're, like, Tier 3, Tier 4 professional players. Like, they're still... I can tell you Tier 3 professional players are way above pub players, like, way above pub players.
Absolutely.
So, even if they're the same MMR. So... in terms of concepts and team play. So, if you look at this game... Okay, this is when I'm gonna... I'm gonna fast forward to this landing stage.
Okay.
So, this is probably when I'm gonna start recording, and it'll be talking to you, but it's gonna be recording a video. So just know I have Flyer Desk to save any questions until I'm done, and then I'll make sure I can go back and answer anything if I need to visit it again. But it will be talking to you while, like, answering your question about going to your own Deadlane and stuff, I assure you.
Okay.
We'll get to all of it, so... Okay. Kind of fast forwarding until I get there.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
By the way, I'm not watching this to, like, suck my own dick. I do watch this to, like, understand where, like, the leading events that came up to it, so I know, like, the context of the game. Okay. Okay, so let's... Okay. So this is going to be where I start. I'm going to go ahead and move my webcam off. So this is going to be a tips and tricks video, and it'll be short. So, but just keep in mind it is for, like, this is basically directly answering your question. I wanted to make a video on this yesterday, and I just didn't. So, a little bit of a tilting day in my pubs yesterday. Okay. So I'll go ahead and get this brief lecture rolling here. So let me just turn my audio down. Let me just change it. Okay. So I'm going to pull this up. So hello, this is BSJ, and this is going to be our next... ignore that intro. Hello, this is BSJ, and this is going to be our next tips and tricks video, and this is going to be an extension of the Deadlane concept, and we're going to be talking about an exception of when you're a hero that could traditionally pressure the Deadlane of the opponent, and instead it's your job to do the opposite, and that is to relieve pressure on your own Deadlane. So the idea of the Deadlane concept is you are creating pressure in the opponent's Deadlane, and they are creating pressure in yours. So the only relevance to any hero on your team ever going to your Deadlane is 1, being survivable enough to go there, 2, relieving pressure. And that's the goal. Our goal is to recognize our purpose in the game in regards to the Deadlane concept. And this is an example of understanding that somebody on your team has to relieve pressure, recognizing when you can do it, and who it is on your team. So in this example, I told my Enigma to go Helm of the Dominator. And this is because I knew that nobody else on my team could relieve the pressure that I knew Sand King and Techies would be creating. Techies is a hero that naturally creates pressure in your safe lane because he'll lay mines, constantly pushing the lane and making it hard to enter. So it's very dangerous. And so any hero on my team, other than me, if they go top, will simply die. So I immediately see that with my lineup, and I'm thinking, well, then somebody else on my team has to create pressure. So if my Enigma had gone Midas, suddenly we're getting heavily pressured on our safe lane, while the opponent has no pressure in their safe lane, which leads to a very hard game. And most games like that is when your whole team is sitting here and just getting collapsed on, no area to farm. Because at the end of the day, if I am bottom, I ask myself, who goes top? Who stops them from actually pushing our lane in? So if you see this game, I look at the fact that I have tower pressure from Enigma buying a Helm of the Dominator, and I have a Leshrac that can also take towers. So the rest of my team can actually get stuff done, but nobody else can be a lone top. So it's my job, and I've immediately, with that deduction, I'm the one that's supposed to be going top. And so my whole purpose is, we're emphasizing again, that if you're ever playing your own dead lane, it's because you're relieving pressure and you feel safe enough to do so, and your only purpose in that lane is to relieve pressure. No other purpose is done. The only time you look for like team fights and killing them is because you think that's an effective way to relieve pressure. But if you don't, you're just going for kills, that is not correct. You simply are only trying to stop them from pressuring. You need to try to recognize what your potential for stopping them is, if it's worth it, how much you can stop them, and really pushing those limits. So you're going to see this first example at 8.5 minutes where I know this. I'm under threat here, and all I'm trying to do is stop them from taking my tower. So this starts in this early game, and this can be seen in my first rotation video as well. But notice how I simply spin and get out, but I stop the push by stalling the wave. And so I've already gauged for myself that my role is top lane. It is my job to pressure bottom lane. I am weak to their heroes. They have a lot of early disables, even though I have spin. They can easily kill me after the disables. And they also have a Razor who's very strong at bringing down Jugg in the early game. He just links me, and I have really no counterplay other than just straight up Omni slashing. So if a fight happens that I think I can show up to, I'll show up. But I'm not going to try to create pressure on their safe lane, because if I try to pressure, one hero in the terms of the Razor can stop me from doing that. So it's just not efficient for me. So with all those things in mind, I've gauged my obligation is the top lane. So I'm going to be efficient, farming the jungle. Notice how I went for the treads, so that I can do a more sustained farm game. I don't have any camps to farm right now, so I went and looked to help my team. And then I asked myself, can I stop this tier 2 push? So if my job is in relevance to my own safe lane, I needed to ask myself, where can I stop them? Like, at what point in the lane can I actually stop them from doing what they're doing? I already said Razor's incredibly scary, so this would mean that I can't defend by myself. I'm going to get stunned by Sand King, linked by Razor. No way I can defend this by myself. So if I can't defend by myself, then the idea is, I know it's either we're 4-man ganking these people, or we're not going there at all. So that I need to know that. So that will dictate my decision making, so that I don't just randomly show up here and then get shoved away. Because all that will be is inefficiency, where I missed 2-3 jungle camps and slowed down my timing. So recognize how important it was that my Enigma going the items he's going, that while they're doing this, we are also not allowing them to simply farm their own safe lane. That's the important thing. You can't let them do this and farm mid and farm safe lane, and that's why it's super important that somebody on the team has to create pressure. So if you're coming from the offlaner's perspective, understand that if your carry can't pressure based on what I'm showing you now, that it's your job to do it. And items like Helm of the Dominator are exactly how you do that on most heroes. Or drums, any active items for whatever your hero needs, if it's like a Bat Rider. So notice how my player perspective will be top lane. All I care about is making sure I'm back in time. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to defend the tier 3 while the rest of my team is doing things across the map. The point of relieving pressure is so that the rest of your team can do whatever they want. That is why you are relieving pressure. So you need to think of it in terms of, in every game, the hero that goes and relieves pressure is the weakest hero that's capable of doing it. And the reason why the weakest hero is the one that does it is because you want the rest of your team to be able to do things as best as possible. So if a support can do it, we saw that in the Deadlane video, then you do it. But if you're a core and you're the only one that's able to do it, you have to do it. Who else is going to defend this? So letting the rest of my team do their thing, and then I'm defending the lane, relieving pressure, and that's my only purpose. I'm waiting here because I'm going to... Oh, I see they're gone. I'm immediately going to push it as fast as I can, and then get out again as soon as I feel at threat. So I keep monitoring that they're not here. I spin the wave down. I keep seeing they're not here. Get a free kill while I'm at it. Push the lane. All I'm doing is relieving pressure. They're here again. I'm out. That is our only purpose in this lane. And that is the emphasis of this concept, is that I will continue to go there because I know I'm the farming hero of my team. This will happen on heroes like Terrorblade, on Jugg, sometimes on Morphling. These survivable heroes that oftentimes need to hit their own timings and may not be strong enough in the early game to pressure the opponent. So if it's your job, make sure you realize the only reason you're going there is to relieve pressure. And you need proof that you are allowed to go there before you go any further. I would have only pushed this out from here and then left to go back here if they weren't showing. Because if they weren't showing anywhere, I'd have to assume they're here. And so if I continue going, I'm in danger. I'm also never going to TP to this lane in a circumstance like this. Because if I'm a Blink hero or a hero like Jugg that can spend TP, having that TP allows me to go much further in a safer manner. So the last thing I'm going to do is TP to the dead lane and then have to be even more scared because I have no TP out. So this whole concept is understanding that it's your role to defend the dead lane sometimes, and the reason why you're going there is to relieve pressure. And because I am relieving pressure, I allowed the rest of my team to take this tier 1 and farm the rest of the map, even looking for some kills on my Bane and Pudge. If I'm not there, somebody else has to go there, and I do it better than anyone else because I'm just trying to farm a Battle Fury. And I see their heroes. They have a Tiny to burst me down. They have a Razor to link me. It's not a game where I especially want to team fight early. So that's a circumstance where always remember the weakest hero that can possibly do it. In this case, it's a core because nobody else is survivable enough to spend TP out or anything like that. That's who's got to do it. And somebody has to do it. And the last question you have to ask yourself at the end of this tips and tricks video is how much pressure is going to be created in your own safe lane? And sometimes you can just say, well, we push much faster than them. Nobody has to relieve pressure. But that's why at the highest level of Dota, a lot of people buy Helm of the Dominator on offlaners because it creates the most pressure on the dead lane for any item of similar cost. And that's why people do it, because they want to create that pressure. And notice how if one hero had done it and the other had not, this game would be much more difficult for the team that didn't. So really understanding the idea that you're relieving pressure, and sometimes it is your job as a carry. That is really the main exception for when you don't go to pressure the dead lane. You're the one that's playing in your own dead lane. Emphasis being survivable enough to do it, and nobody else on your team can. And I'll see you guys next time for the next tips and tricks video. Did that answer your question? That whole concept?
That did answer.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay, cool. So this game's a really good example. I was like, I'm not very good, in my opinion, in terms of my own playstyle, for being content to play like that.
Okay.
So I thought for me that was like a really good. How do I word it? That was like a really good indicator that I can, and I just need to get better at it. I still need to get better at it. I've even recently messed it up. So knowing that I can do it right in a game like that felt good, and I need to keep working on it. But knowing when it's your job to do that is super important. Notice how I enabled the rest of my team to do things because I was there. And so my point of emphasis why I was so happy that you rotated this game when your team was fighting and all that jazz is because can you occupy this lane in this game?
Right.
In this game, in the mid game, when you rotate, can you occupy this lane anymore?
No.
By yourself? No, right? You would need heroes behind you. So, in what case would you want to be in this lane with heroes behind you?
If we were gonna kill somebody,
or you're just trying to get something done. That's the point, right? You're not gonna go there just to farm. You're not gonna get, hey guys, I want to farm down here. Sit behind me. No, right?
Right.
Notice in my case, I was able to farm and relieve pressure with no help. So.
Yeah, so in that case, so I noticed they pushed all the way down your safe lane, right? They killed your tier 2 and stuff.
Yeah.
And you only went back to defend the high ground because that was the only time that you could, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess for me it's really hard to be like, oh shit, yeah, we'll just let the tier 2 go, and then I guess is that something that I just need to be okay with if it means that I'm going to stay alive and get stronger?
I mean, you literally need to ask yourself what your capabilities are.
Sure. Okay.
I literally said in the video, but also now it's different in your game. But what happens if I go defend that tier 2? What's gonna happen to me?
Yeah, you're gonna get fucked up.
I'm just gonna get stunned and linked. Best case scenario, I spin the wave and TP out. Does that feel good? That's absolute best case scenario, and they may even kill me. They may even kill me in the spin. So 1 second.
Okay.
So I just need to drink some more. So it's literally just envisioning what's my capability here. And sometimes you're not sure. And it's like, a lot of times what happens is people don't think. So they see their tier 2 getting taken and they just go. They're like, oh, my tier 2's dying. Sure. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Like, that's like 99% of people. Not just you. So the goal is we want you to think like the Deadlane concept entirely, and why I made a whole hour and 20-minute example video on it is there's so many cases that can arise, but you have to understand relief pressure, pressure. That's all it is. It's just like a tug of war. And so, like, for everyone out there, you offlaners, like, realize that if that Enigma had not gone home with a Dominator, we lose that fucking game. Like, we actually lose. Because the entire time that I'm doing what I'm doing, we take no towers. And suddenly we have two tier 2 or 2 towers gone, and they have all their towers. And when that happens, usually it means they take more towers, and we never get any towers. So it's somebody has to pressure, but at the end of the day, in that Jugg game, if my Enigma didn't go Helm Dom, could I have created pressure in the opponent's Deadlane? Could I?
If your Enigma didn't go Helm Dom?
Yeah, could I have created pressure?
I mean, probably.
Against Razor? Tiny?
Oh, no.
No! I couldn't. So, like, my idea in your games for solo carrying and having the most impact is literally saying, I can pressure their Deadlane. It's me. I'll do it. Like, I literally look at their lineup like, why do I pick Void in the game I picked it the other day? The first 3 picks were Abaddon, Wisp, something that doesn't kill Void, like Tusk, I think it was.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I can go play their Deadlane all I want. Like, I can just push it in. Or I could play my own Deadlane. I can literally do whatever I want. Like, I'm literally, like, going to be able to choose between the two. And so, but in higher tier Dota, at the end of the day, you usually don't have that luxury. But in your tier, you probably have that luxury almost every game.
Definitely,
So you should look to make that a thing. And so these heroes like PL, Jugg, Terrorblade. Obviously, Terrorblade got nerfed, but he's still like a hero. Slark can be that way. These type of heroes, like they can Lifestealer, they can generally have a decent choice of what they want to do, and which one they are. And so, just recognizing what items you need to do either, like, phase is the more this route, and you're looking to fight. Right. You're only here because you have nothing else to do, if you really think about it. You're not here to fight, right? You're here because...
I want the tower,
Yeah, what else is there to do right now? Yeah. You're not survivable down here. Otherwise, you're hitting neutrals. That's your 2 choices. And, and honestly, in both cases, you'd want treads, because... you're just hitting tower or neutrals, and treads are better for that. But either way, like, my point is, if I'm planning on playing like this, and I want to fight, based on whatever the enemy lineup is, that's when I'll go like phase, or maybe even phase drums sometimes, like, because I really think I need to fight or whatever. And that'll determine that. But so notice in my game, I built treads, and then look how I played, right?
Yeah.
And notice you're actually playing pretty similarly with phase, and that's the problem, right? We want you to, if you're playing the same way I was, you know, you don't need phase for that. So you see the bottom. So this is this an area you really want to be?
Like up top?
Yeah, up top. Okay, when I say up top, I mean right here. Sorry.
Oh, probably not.
Not really, right? Because you are vulnerable. Like, it's not a game where anytime something happens, you can say, "Oh shit, TP out."
Right.
In those type of games, if you have an "Oh shit" button, you should be playing up as far as you possibly can, because then the minute they react, like, you actually aren't concerned with what they're doing on the map. You can just say "Oh shit" and leave.
Yeah.
Like literally, and so that allows you to play up in their faces. You don't even have to concern yourself with what's going on the map. I mean, you should like try to monitor it, obviously, but like. No, just know this is how I'm gonna die. Make sure I don't get stunned or silenced or whatever, and then spin TP. But in this game, at any point, they can set up something with a pudge. Like, actually, I would be too scared to push this because pudge isn't showing. If they pudge hook you into Dismember, you're actually gonna die with any other hero TPing in, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm not here. I am letting this lane be pushed in, and I'm back. And I'd normally go here, but these
right. Yeah, you hit the neutrals. Yeah.
So where am I gonna go now?
Probably back down to like the shrine, top shrine. Yeah.
And so based on the timer, what's my next 30 seconds gonna look like?
You're gonna go to Shrine and then pick up the bounty rune at 14.
You're gonna clear both camps, pick up the bounty rune, and then once you pick up the bounty rune, what are you doing next?
Depending on where everybody is, I'll go back and maybe get their bounty rune and push again.
Or
go help my team mid.
Or just farm these again.
Or just farm them
again. The
point
is, those two options are fine, but
okay.
The point is, you were right to say I got to see what they're doing. So
right.
The point, so I said next 30 seconds. Next 24 seconds, you're walking here, spinning one of them. However, or what determines whether or not you spin these camps?
If I'm not gonna block them.
Yeah, if you're gonna kill them in time for 14 minutes. If you don't need spin, you don't spin. But if you need the spin to kill them in time, you spin.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, this, these are farming efficiency things. But I wouldn't be here because at the end of the day, the enemy team honestly could kill you there if you think about it. Couldn't they?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, notice how when I was the hero relieving pressure, I went there as soon as I thought I was capable.
Yeah.
Right? So, if you're the hero creating pressure, it's the same thing. You just, every game, need to make an educated guess, and then you'll learn from it how far here you're allowed to be. Sometimes you can be here, and then you have to back off. But that's still creating some semblance of pressure, because if the lane is pushed from here to here, the minute they do something else, if you're doing this thing, what do you do the minute they do something else?
I mean, you can adapt to it. You can counter it.
I'm saying you can immediately go back.
Yeah.
You're not here, so when they do something else, you have to do this.
Yeah, you have to run all the way up.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're nearby, so the second that you're able to do it again... Notice how, like, in that game, when I relieved pressure, I was actually only going to go right here, and then I waited. And then I saw 3 heroes mid. And I'm like, oh, I'll go more.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, in this case, I'm going to go to, like, probably, like, right here. And then the minute they show every hero that can possibly kill me, okay, I'll keep going. But then I'm just going to push it from here and then go here, here, here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go any further. My point is you want to make that... Just draw the line somewhere every single game. Think about where it is, why, and you're not going to be right every time. I'm not right every time either. But
at least you'll learn from it, right?
You'll learn from it, and over time, every time you die, you'll get better, and you'll do it even better every time. So the purpose is, I still make mistakes like this. People will probably point it out to me on my stream. It's a matter of I make it less than you do. That's the emphasis. And the point is, as you gain knowledge in MMR, it's just going to happen less. It's still going to happen, but it's going to happen. But it's going to happen less.
So one of the things that happened this game, I felt like I itemized like really poorly. And I feel like I get into the habit of just like fucking like autopiloting my builds, and I didn't realize until it was like way too late that like I completely fucked up, and I think that is what lost us the game. Was my items this game?
So that's cool.
Okay, sorry, just
throwing it out this one. No, I was listening.
Okay, yeah.
So this is a spot where what should you do right here?
What should I do? Spin?
Yeah, you should spin it because this is all a resource war. This is all a resource war. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't feel safe here, do you? Like meaning you don't feel completely confident. Why would you not spin in any game?
If you were worried that you needed to use it for spin TP?
Yeah, you could just know that your spin's your way out. You can be here as long as you want, but I need that spin to get out of here.
Yeah.
But if you're scared of being here, don't you want to be here as short as possible?
Yeah.
Is spin going to save you if they go on you?
No.
No. So why am I holding it? Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
This is a perfect example of like a combination of the fact that you also have full mana, a perseverance, and
mana's not a problem.
Yeah. So my point is, I wouldn't do it if I had 100 mana, but we want you to realize there's times where on Slark I'm not supposed to dark pack the wave. There's also times on Lifestealer I'm not supposed to use Rage to farm.
Yeah.
But either I don't need those things to survive because I'm not afraid of dying, or those things aren't going to change anything, so I'll just use them anyway just to speed them up, like speed whatever I'm doing up. Those are the two ways it can go. And this is like what I don't like. They're all missing. Ugh, this has to go bad.
Yeah.
There's no way it's gonna
it was pretty. Really? It was pretty bad. No, it was pretty bad.
That seems like best case scenario.
Yeah.
And So the idea is that you do exactly what you did top, and then turn this into what happened bottom.
Yeah.
Without overextending in 2 deaths.
Sure.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
I see. Yeah.
You learn. Okay, so what you accomplished and then left, and then got done here, like right here, is exactly why you're doing what you're doing. But you need to try to know the boundary better, so you don't die with 2 heroes.
Yeah. No.
So that my point is, what you're getting done right here is exactly why you're doing what you're doing top. I'm emphasizing that to you and everyone else. Because this guy should not be allowed to be here. Why?
No. Because he all his team TP top.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can say be a shape, but that's your Deadlane. He's allowed to be there. No, he's not. You just forced 3 heroes top, right? Like, you can't show on the map alone. Like, you just showed 3 heroes. So that's exactly why you're doing what you're doing. You're forcing them to react to you. And this is why I would not be here.
Yeah, because his Pudge is there and it's scary. Yeah, I think I get fucked. Oh, no, I'm actually got it. Yeah.
Meaning, when I say lucky, it's just like, are we here to make plays? Is this the lane to make plays?
No, this is not the lane.
Are we going to make plays?
I'm making plays right now.
Okay, sorry. So is this the lane we make plays? No.
No,
Do we have the abilities to make plays?
Yes. Oh, not without Omni, no.
So
I should just fuck off and back up to top.
Okay. Am I farming my way there, or am I walking?
Farming your way there.
Yeah, in this case, farming. But is that a question I have to ask myself every game?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it will be determined by all kinds of factors.
Yeah.
Right? Like, can you?
But yeah, like I mean, like where their team is, like what? Yeah, where your team is.
To farm, what else?
What like my mana and health look like? What my cooldowns look like? What my team's cooldowns look like? Yeah.
What about what's your goal up here? Why are you going there?
To relieve the pressure and push.
This is to what?
To push.
Not to relieve pressure. What are you doing here?
To create pressure, yeah.
So why would you create pressure again?
Because...
What is that preventing the enemy team from doing?
Pushing my safe lane.
Okay, so if you saw them grouping up as 4 or 5, might it be best for you to run all the way there as quickly as possible?
And then just to TP back if I'm needed?
Simply, I'm saying you're simply running there as soon as possible because you see that they're going to do something, and the best way to put them in a tight spot is by...
Making more pressure.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So,
I see what you're saying,
you could walk all the way to mid. That would be a decent option too, meaning like...
Just because we have the tier 1 still?
I'm saying because you can push this tier 1 to stop them from doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, my point is, your race to not farm jungle can partially be because you're worried about the other team already doing something. And you're like, they're doing something. I don't really want to fight them head on to stop them, so the best way to stop them is by creating the pressure somewhere else. In which case, it's bad for you to jungle because while they're grouping up, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, there's no pressure created. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So yeah, but the last thing you want to do is, like I said, be in this dead lane area.
Just do this shit, yeah.
This is where a bunch of random no shit happens shit. And in all your games where you have these like lingering team fights that are doing nothing, it's almost always in your own dead lane, or it's when your team is trying to push the top tier 2 when you're not strong enough, and you're like, I'm not good. What are we doing? What? Like, what you were doing earlier, like if you ask yourself, you're really not strong enough. So like, why are you there, kind of thing.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, so.
But yeah, we stay, and then get kind of fucked on.
That's best case scenario, is it not?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're seeing it. I hope.
So and then this is like this is like.
You said the Deadlane concept's eye-opening. I hope this coaching session's even.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure.
Like, you know, you're seeing it.
Now that I'm,
in my firm opinion, unless you are simply able to walk down a lane against their lineup, okay? Like, I mean, there are exceptions in what I'm saying to this, okay? And what I mean by that is, if I feel like we can show up as 5 heroes and there's nothing they can do about it, that's about the only time you'll ever take this tier 2 before you take this one.
Okay.
Like, if your lineup can't show up without them being able to respond, this tier 2 almost never dies before this one. The only time that this tier 1 dies, other than like early game, laning stage, because you're strong enough, I showed in my Deadlane video, the only time a team ever really went here is because they had like Venge DP some other Oracle or some shit. And it's like, how did the other team fight into Venge DP Oracle at 12 minutes? Like, the DP just walks into the lane, And what's the enemy team going to do about it? So they showed up and did that. Like, but other than that, if this tower doesn't die and you can't do that, this tower probably won't die for like 20 minutes, 25 at least.
Okay.
Because it's inconvenient for you. Like, every time you walk down this lane, you're going to be confronted, right?
Yeah.
You're going to see it every single time. You've noticed it. It's going to be that way almost every single game. Very rarely, and it's only because the enemy team's bad, will you ever go to this lane and they're just going to let you have it.
Yeah.
Like, so you literally need to be able to say, we're walking here as 5.
Right.
And we don't give a fuck if they show up. We're taking this tower. That's when you have, like, a bad in Viper lineups or a bad in DK or Tide with no way to disable the Tide. And it's like, you know, just kill them. It's like, that's the kind of lineups, like, the Razor SK example, like, if they had done that bottom, I'm probably not stopping them either unless we bring 5. Like, that's the only way we're doing it. And in that case, we're going to bring 5 if they're here.
Yeah, you have to, right?
Are we going to bring 5 if they're here? No. Yeah. Right? Like, you saw. That's why you do this lane. Like, that's, like, that feels so shit to bring 5 heroes to your own safe lane. It doesn't feel that shit to do this because we immediately go push off of it. But if we're here... What? You're not going to go here. You know, you're not going to take 45 seconds to a minute to get to here. By that time, they're already alive again, and then they can do whatever they want. By that time, they're all alive again, and they've already pushed in our mid lane, and they've already pushed in our bottom lane. You know what I mean? But by this, if you had pushed out this lane first, sorry, if you're Dire, if you'd pushed out this lane first, and then collapsed this 5 here, you've got all the time in the world to go push this, like, because this lane's pushed out.
Yeah,
like
there's no pressure, right?
There's no pressure anywhere, and that's why this is so inconvenient for you, and that's why this one is so convenient for you. So you're back top.
They're beating on Dire's top tower.
So you see them bottom, but you don't. But Sven's top, and you don't have Omni. So I would immediately run to my own camps.
Okay.
Actually, no, I'm fine to do this. I'm fine. Okay. Fine with this. I would not have gone to the small camp.
Why not?
Done big camp? Okay.
Just,
So why am I allowed to do this big camp?
Because they're 2 bottom.
Okay. And I see Sven in lane, right?
Right.
So we know Sven right now is clearing this wave. What's he going to do after that wave?
He's probably going to come and go to neutrals.
That's one of his options, is it not?
Or keep pushing, yeah.
So it's either he's going to keep pushing or he's going to go to neutrals. Are you ready to confront this guy?
Not without Omni,
with your heroes and your abilities, no, right?
Yeah.
So we need to not go in the 2 options he's going.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So where should you go right now?
So now I should just go down to my top shrine and do the neutrals there.
Are you going this way or this way?
Through the river.
Okay. Cool. Farming decision making.
Yeah.
Do I want to confront this guy? What's he going to do next? If I want to confront him, how am I going to confront him best? If I'm not going to confront him, how do I avoid him best? So that's the thing of, like, if I Omni/Sven, what's he going to do?
Yeah, just pop the
War Cry and then take no damage. So that's that's something like using abilities in team fights or pickoffs, like holding abilities or using them right away. It's super important. Like, you need to understand it. Just like in that farming example, I literally said, "What's he going to do next?" Like, when I use this ability, what's going to be their response? Like, can I do anything about that response? Is my ability still useful? Like, do I have to use it preemptively? Like, there are games where you have to spin reactionarily, but there's also games where if you try to hold spin as a reaction, you're just dead.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're never going to react. They just have instant stuns and they're going to kill you. So that's why... Okay, perfect example.
Okay.
Spin. Does anybody have the replay ID of the Miracle Slark game today?
Shit.
Anybody in chat? Anybody? Game ID Miracle Slark. If anybody does, we'll take time to show you real quick what I mean.
Yeah, no worries.
I know there's not too many people here, but
oh, it's all good.
I would hope somebody has.
Maybe at least one does, yeah.
Vision 3D, you coming through for me, dude? Sick.
Wow, nice.
Thank you, sir. I remember watching this game and seeing a lot of ults lol in chat when Miracle did this. So
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what I mean. And this is very important on heroes, especially like Jugg, like Slark. Is in that Jugg example, if you actually watch that game back, there's a point at like 9 or 10 minutes in where I spin TP before anything's even happening. And it's like, if I don't spin, I'm literally going to get stunned into Techie's explosion and die. Like, and I know that.
Yeah.
If I don't spin and Techie's is right there, I'm dead. I literally know that. So I have to spin scared preemptively, right? I have to. I can't hold it. I can't reactively be like, oh, the minute I see Techie's, I'll do it. He can just be in the trees waiting for me. So let me show you this example here. I don't remember exactly when it is. I know where it is, but not when.
Yeah, it's all good.
Notice how he's the one relieving pressure on his... Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's see what he sees on the map. Okay. He saw a Willow top who's like level 5. He sees nothing else. Right?
Yeah.
He hears Monkey King Primal Springing him. What could that mean?
That he's gonna get ganked?
Does he have any way of knowing whether or not he's getting ganked?
No.
And if he's getting ganked and he doesn't ult immediately, is he dead as shit?
Yeah. And he just holds.
Is the enemy team doing anything?
No.
Does he know that?
No, he doesn't.
Period. People in chat were like, Miracle, ult, lol. I'm like, literally, like, that's like the best possible play.
That was the only play.
That's the only play he can make. If he doesn't do that and they're there, he's dead as shit. Period. Right? Like,
for sure.
And that's why, you know, people will always be 2K. And the example there, though, is that we want you to think, like, what threatens you? What do you see? I need to pull up your replay again. Like, what do you see? How do you die? What do your abilities offer to you? That is aggression and defensive. So it seems so basic, but, like, you can't just Omni-slash just Finn, you know? Like, that's something that can't really ever happen. The only way you can Omni-slash Finn is if you know you have, like, silence or stun follow-up, like, right when you do it. Because otherwise he's just going to War Cry, and your ability's going to do nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that was... Yeah. So, if I had held my Omni-slash for, like, maybe someone who didn't have War Cry, like, I feel like we might have been able to win that, because I think we get completely fucked at that fight.
Okay, so here's my point that I want to make.
Okay. Yeah.
Is, in this game, are you in a particular rush to fight them with the items you have?
No, not with just a
like,
Battle Fury.
It was Battle Fury, maybe you had a Yasha at that point? I'm just fast-forwarding to get back.
Yeah, I think yeah.
So I think you have, like, a Yasha. So are you eager to fight?
No.
So when should you fight?
When I have, like, items that let me fight, basically.
Or they're forcing you, or your team makes a coordinated movement to go there?
Sure.
Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, that's
like in my video I talk about, like, don't take fights in your own dead lane unless they're, like, coordinated. Like, your team's doing something, you feel really strong, like, you fear no death, like, you can walk in without being scared of anything, or your team's so strong, or your team is making a play call, right? That's the point. Did your team make a play call?
A bit, no.
Are you
just
eager?
all shut up.
Is this not your teammate getting picked off? This is the worst time to go here.
He's fucking dead, yeah.
The only time you can go here is when your team makes a coordinated move, or you have no humanly possible way to die, and you'd rather be here than here.
Okay.
That's the criteria. Like, if you have no way to die, usually you'd rather be here anyway.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So the point is, like, you already took this tier 2, and you see that they're pushing yours, and you're like, okay, I can't die, I'm just going to show up and stop them. That's what people on, like, a Baden will do, or, like, Tidehunter. You can do it on Jugg sometimes, but usually not. Jugg's more of a pusher than a D-pusher, obviously.
Yeah.
So when I see this shit,
that was
what would the proper reaction be?
I should have just taken the tier 2 top.
I would at least shove this lane in.
Yeah.
And then after you push the lane, what are you waiting to see?
To see if they actually keep fighting or if they push.
Back off? Right?
Yeah, back off.
They're either pushing, in which case you push.
Or relieving the pressure I create.
In which case you push or decide to fight, depending on what you see. Or they don't show, and what do?
Then I just keep pushing.
You back off. You can't.
Oh, if they don't show,
they don't show at all. You don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. I got you.
They could be here, or they could be back, right? In that case, you just go farm. That's what neutral camps are for.
Exactly.
Literally going to farm them when you don't know what else you're supposed to do yet. But fights like this,
yeah,
even if they won, what did they get you?
Like nothing.
Kills.
Because
that's all they get you.
It kills.
I'm saying that's all they get you. Is kills.
Yeah.
And so, why take them? Unless you make a coordinated move, right? Like, why take the fight? There's just no point. I sometimes do it too. It's a discipline thing.
Sure.
I've gotten better at it, but it's still a problem. It's a discipline thing.
Yeah.
That Jugg game, I was incredibly disciplined. I was actually shocked. Like, that for me was a big deal. Like, I just didn't show up to any fights that I didn't think were good, and I just didn't show up. And the only fights I showed up to were like planned attacks that like I wanted to be a part of, and that's what you basically. That's the level you're trying to get to, and that's the level. Like, if I could play as well as I did that Jugg game every game, I like honestly would be tier 1 player. But that was the difference between me and a tier 1 player. They do that a vast majority of games. I do it perfectly, like 20% of games or 25%. You know what I mean? Like, so if you put me in a pro match, they're doing it right every single game. I'll do it right 1 out of 4 games. That's why I can take a game off of them in a best of 3.
Sure.
But in a best of 3, most of the time, they'll beat me because the odds of me doing it 2 out of 3 times better than they do is very low. Like, that's incredibly low. So, like, as a player for myself as growth, it's simply trimming this up at a professional level. For you, it's obviously at a 3K level. Look at how many random-ass fucking fights are happening down here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We want you to be top. And so, if you are just... We're not saying you're survivable. We're not saying take this tier 2. We're saying have it so that this tier 2 is as pressured as it possibly can be. Possibly can be. Like, even if that means the lane's just sitting right here. Like, that whole time. That's all we're trying to do. So the last thing we want to do is be in our own jungle, especially when you're in a game where you're scared like this. Key thing between the Jugg game that I was in and yours is that I was spin TPable at any point. Would I, in that Jugg game that I showed you from me, would I ever go to my Deadlane with no TP?
No.
Ever? No. Because can they kill me?
Yeah.
Like, they can just razor link me and walk me down, right? They can literally just chase me down. So I know my condition for being there is that I can spin TP, so I'll literally never go there without a TP. And so, like, I had a way out. I had a plan out. So that was good.
Yeah.
Kind of lucky, I think, though. Your team wasn't there. I mean, like, it was good play, like, execution-wise, but... obviously, this is 3K, so a lot of uncoordinated stuff is happening.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a mess, for sure.
Okay, so I see this, I immediately run mid. Why don't we push lanes ever? What's the only reason you don't push lanes?
If you're scared of dying?
Okay, you saw 2 heroes, the other 3 are dead.
Yeah.
This is just happening 10 seconds slower than it should.
Exactly.
Mid, okay, continue. Oh, I wouldn't. Okay, when do I not go to the shop to buy items? What's the courier for?
When the courier can do it, yeah.
Okay, or also, when I need to do something else. It applies in the laning stage, it applies in the mid game, it applies in the late game. When I need to do something else. Mid lane.
Yeah.
Isn't this much better if the mid lane's like right here than it is?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I hope they don't contest you. I mean, they didn't have chrono, but... Imagine if that lane was pushing to their tier 2 in this smoke. Imagine if that lane is right here.
Oh, yeah. That would have been a 6
Wouldn't the smoke be amazingly better?
Yeah, it would be dope.
Okay, cool. Gotta set your team up for good success. That's the only thing you can do as a carry.
Yeah.
Okay, does your team need your help to push this creep wave into this tower?
No.
Are you survivable?
Yeah, now I am.
What should you go do?
I should push top.
Not top, because if you go top, can your team function without you?
Oh, no.
Okay, so do they need your help possibly to push this tier 2 tower?
Yeah, to get the tower.
Do they need your help to clear the creep wave?
No.
Okay, so in the amount of time it takes this to get to here, what should you do?
I should just run up and be, like, not in the middle of the lane? Or push mid?
Or jungle here. Anything aggressive, right?
Like, just not stand in the middle of the lane.
Yeah, my point is to do anything else.
I feel you, yeah.
Your team doesn't need you for this. Don't do it.
Okay.
This is just missed farm. I don't want you to go ditch them by going top.
Right.
But you missed this. Okay, imagine if you had done what I said. By the time you kill this tower, this lane's right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're pushing this.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're 100% not getting that tier 2 before they're alive. And now you're kind of stuck like, oh, do we go high ground?
Yeah.
See how you're faced with all these awkward decisions with inefficient split pushing? Like,
yeah.
I don't love this.
I figured, like, we were going to go nuts and because I had Aegis, but it didn't actually. Yeah, Sven came and just fucked everyone up. It was rough.
You guys are definitely not strong enough to go high ground. That's something that you engage later. My emphasis is that, like, this should have been pushed, so you should have that as an option. If you have that as an option and end up doing the same thing, that's like a whole nother ballgame of like decision making and mistakes. But you didn't have that as an option in the first place because of your inefficiency.
Push it.
It's simply like, what does my team need from me? Oh, they need me when we get to the tier 2. Oh, I'll go push something else. Why is it important that you're the one that goes and pushes something else?
Because I push really fast.
You're the one that does it the best.
Yeah.
Period. You're survivable enough. You do it fastest. Yeah. Like, the rest of your team can function as 4 until they get to this tier 2, right? Like, they don't need you to get the wave there, but they do. That's why you don't go top, though, because they need you to be at the tower push if the enemy team buys back or contests or whatever. And you also kill the tower, like, you are the tower damage. If you're not the tower damage, like, you're an Ursa, I'd probably just farm neutrals nearby looking for possible heroes to kill.
Just wait, yeah. So, at this point, I think this was the fight that I realized, like, holy shit, like, I probably should have a Manta or a BKB because of all the silence and shit.
I don't mind not having a Manta or a BKB, but you definitely need to have, like, a Scotty, not a Butterfly. If you're
okay.
That route.
Just so that I can eat more damage?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think you need a BKB eventually.
Okay.
But if you're gonna, like, skip the BKB now, you need to, like, not, like, the way you die is not right clicks. The way you die is, okay, you will still die to right clicks with a Butterfly, is what I guess I would say. Like,
okay, yeah.
If you are in spin, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you're outside of spin, you're gonna die all the same with a Butterfly. Does that make sense? Like,
just because of all the magic damage?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, like, if you spin, no matter what item you purchase, you're fine. But if you, I mean, assuming it's a survivability item, like you don't buy like a Mjolnir or something.
Yeah.
So if you're in spin, you're gonna live. But if you're outside of spin, you're gonna die with, and it's to magic damage.
Yeah.
In which case, a Butterfly doesn't do anything. So I would think I need either raw HP.
Yeah.
In which case, I'd go Scotty because they have a Sven.
Okay.
And you guys have no BKB piercing other than Legion duel, and if she duels Sven, she's just gonna, like, die. So, so, like, I think that that's why I would go Scotty, and then I'd probably go Scotty BKB here.
Sure.
Would probably be my item build.
So, like, the reasoning behind the Butterfly is because I was, like, really scared of Sven.
That doesn't solve the problem, though, right? Honestly,
I guess it doesn't. Yeah.
Like, the way I look at it is, if you're scared of Sven, like, buy a Scotty, because you might have to Sven better with a Scotty anyway.
Okay. See, and, like, that's kind of the things that like I mentioned that itemization is, like, hard for me, and I think it's mostly just because I'm, like, kind of shit at, like, knowing when each item is good.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just something I gotta.
That's something that my best advice on that front is obviously having it, that you had an educated reason for, like, why you went for this decision.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think the best way to learn is to watch high-level players make item choices. Like, guess what they're going to buy. I've learned a lot doing that. Just, like, guess what they're going to buy, and then...
see how you do, basically.
And basically say, I have a reason why I would buy this, and then see what they buy, and ask yourself why they bought it. I would usually go with the best players in the world because like a lot of tier 2, tier 3 players will mess up. So it's not always reliable to use their item decision making to guide you.
Yeah.
So you end up going Manta. And the reason why I think BKB Scotty was better is because Manta solves your silence problem, but you still die to Sven.
Yeah.
So like if you go Scotty BKB at that point, you can man up on Sven, and then the only way they can stop you is by chronoing you, and then Sven's not hitting you.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, in this game at this point.
I mean, it's over. Yeah.
So
like
we got about 15-20 minutes left. Go ahead and
Okay.
send me the other game.
Let me grab the other one.
I'd probably go Scotty BKB, and then maybe Butterfly after that. Or since you have a lot of disable, I'd probably favor Butterfly, but Missile could be good too. It would at that point be a feel thing, like how useful is my Earthshaker being? Do I need the disable from Basher? That kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Like some games, like I don't know, you just can't really trust your Earthshaker to lock them down. Some games, like even if you have the Basher, you won't deal enough damage. That kind of thing. You could go Nullifier too.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. And that would is that just so? Because Nullifier what mutes? I don't even fucking know.
It disables items.
It disables items. Right. Okay. Cool.
And purges.
Mm-hmm.
So Sven Warcry, Prophet's only survivability is items.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's your turn to dance.
Most notably, it continuously purges. Or does it? I actually need to know this. I think it does.
So yeah, like I don't.
I should know this. I really should.
Yeah.
I haven't taken the time to be. I've been too lazy about it. I don't think it continuously purges, honestly, and it's unacceptable that I don't know this. Let's see. Yeah, it's not a continuous purge. I actually knew that, but it's just a continuous slow. It's a continuous slow. Every time you hit them. So it's like an Echo Saber slow every time you hit them while it's applied.
Okay.
So it's an initial purge. So if you're against something like a Pugna, you should hold it until he decrypts.
Right.
But if you're against Sven, I guess you should hold it until someone gets Warcry. But if you're against like a Prophet, you use it immediately because they can't use any items.
Okay.
But they can obviously still be saved by like an E-Blade or something. I like, honestly knew that, but I wasn't 100% confident, and it's not acceptable that that's something where it's like, what's my excuse for not just going and looking up? Quickly. That took literally 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's no big deal. I didn't know what it did either.
Sad.
So
it's literally just sad that like, I didn't take the time to go do that. So far, lane equilibrium's good. I don't think you're being adamant enough about. I can go back and talk about it, but you're literally just not denying enough. Like I'm not going to. You're just like remember last time I said like when the lane starts pushing.
Yeah, you got to go in.
You want the lane slightly pushing into you, so your goal should be, even if it means missing 1 or 2 CS, that lane should be slightly pushed into you at all times. Because at the end of the day, some random shit's gonna happen. Support's gonna take aggro. You're gonna accidentally take aggro. You're gonna want to go for a kill, and then this is gonna happen.
Yep.
And that's all we need to talk about there. See, like your supports will fuck up, even in high levels they will. And now you make this aggressive play, and it doesn't even feel good. It's a wrong aggressive play to make because of this.
Now it's pushing. Yeah.
Complete decider of aggression is equilibrium. Okay, so you go. What the?
Dude, oh shit. Okay, so fucking. I never I get too scared. I was like, fuck, I need the mangoes for regen though. So I but I need tangos too.
Branch over and TP over boots and quelling?
Yeah.
What?
No,
I can't possibly fathom the reasoning.
Yeah. So they just sit there. Oh shit!
I've got nothing here. I've got.
Yeah, no, I feel. Yeah, okay, there we go.
That took like 4 minutes longer than it should have.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so that's an issue. I mean, that's a serious issue. There's not much else I can coach on it, but that's a huge issue.
Just don't leave it in your backpack.
Yeah. Literally, if you have net worth, show it in your inventory. That's the overlying theme of both games. Obviously, one time you put it in your backpack, the other game you just didn't purchase it at all.
Okay.
Why is this Aquila wrong?
Because the courier's in use.
Okay, so what should you buy?
Treads or
Okay,
phase.
you actually just need treads. Period.
I just need
what
treads?
I mean by
Okay.
treads is like, in my opinion, you can't afford to sit in lane this long with no items.
Oh
I would
yeah.
actually
Okay.
buy treads because there's no other item to buy right now, and the courier's in use. Like, it's like
Okay.
in the old days
Yeah.
where phase were in the side shop, then you have a legitimate decision.
Mhm.
But being in lane for this long with this much net worth missing is actually just
It's pretty
so
shit.
bad. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why it's actually just shitty that it's also that much more important that every time you can fly Aquila, no matter how early it is, that you do, right? For this exact reason.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you can afford to fly it earlier, then this time that you had that was downtime waiting for the Aquila, you could have been spending buying boots. And then maybe you wouldn't have to go treads, you could go phase. Okay.
This middle tower is like a
That's unfortunate, but it happened.
tower to do some help. Radiant's top tower.
When I push, by the way, I always chop this tree down. This one. It shows you people walking from.
Wait,
over here.
which tree? Sorry.
tree.
Oh, the lone tree over
You
there.
see
Okay.
People walking from this way and this way, depending on where you are.
Okay.
I
Cool.
just get rid of this tree every fucking time. Just something to
All right.
Little
Yeah.
small tidbit. This is a spot where I would kill at least one small centaur first before spinning.
Okay. Why do you do that?
Magic resistance, and they
Gotcha,
have like
okay.
100. They have like 200 health or something, so they're like really squishy.
Okay.
Takes like 3 right clicks, maybe 2 for it. Notice how you didn't bring a clarity again.
Yeah. Dude, my shit was my hockeys are fucked up. Sorry.
Not much to say about micro stuff. Unless
Yeah,
you
that
have a
was
question about it, there's not much to
Yeah,
say.
no, we're good.
The lane pressure's good. I don't love just ulting him right away. So here's how I look at it.
Okay.
I like walking at him here
Okay.
and seeing how he reacts.
Yeah, I felt really strong at that point.
You
So
are
I was like,
strong.
I'm gonna
I
fuck
think
this
it's
guy
correct
up.
that
Yeah.
you walk at him. I
But
feel
not
like if
just
he
run up and
carapaced
ult.
one of your Omni Slash attacks, obviously he doesn't reflect it on you, but he would be much more likely of surviving. And like his reaction should not be to try to stun you
Yeah.
when you're gonna Omni Slash. So my point is like I like you walking past the tower, and if he walks into you,
Yeah.
you Omni Slash, and if he walks away, you just take the tower for free.
Okay.
You kind of like he did end up walking into you, but you made the decision before he did that. You see, like
Okay.
that's the problem I have with it is I
yeah.
feel like that could have been an Omni. Like my purpose for that is, I'm not saying don't use Omni Slash to get solo kills.
Yeah.
Is maybe he's not alone. Like maybe something you don't see is there, and then I'm doing what I'm doing in order to get the tower. So I'm gonna posture to push him off the tower, and if he walks away, okay, cool. I accomplished everything I could by just walking at him.
Mm-hmm.
And if he tries to stop me, then I'll utilize resources to make him not stop me. Does that make that's how I try to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But notice how every time you get phase, you always end up needing mana.
And I shrine. Yeah. Again.
I mean,
Okay.
the shrine's okay there because you had no health.
Because I had no
there,
health.
but,
Yeah.
like, you saw in my game, right? Like how I literally was like jungling with no health and mana and tread swapping and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a perfect example of like the clarity I had going. Like, it's just
Yeah.
it's just resource efficiency that you can work on is at the end of the day.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean this is a good rotation because it's a PA and you have a
Yeah.
DK to rotate, so that's why this is good. I think one of your teammates should take top,
Yeah.
but
Should it? I guess. So it shouldn't have been me. That
I think
rotation
this
was
is
so
good
solid.
because you're
Okay.
survivable. This
Yeah.
is good.
Where those cracks
But
in Dire's top
yeah,
tower?
this is fine. I would not be here. I would return to the camps down here because I have a ward. And then
Okay.
if Shadow Shaman came over, I would do this. Is how it would go.
I see. Okay.
This is how I look at it. These camps will always be available. This camp will not be.
Yeah.
So I'll always try to take this first. Not only am I taking a more dangerous camp for myself, but I'm also effectively denying them as well
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
if
It's
it's
big.
available. Like I'm not gonna force it and die, but like
Yeah.
if I think
Yeah.
I'm safe enough to do it right now. I would have even probably picked up this bounty rune, then killed this camp, then pick up the bounty rune, because this bounty rune's always going to be here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's how I think about it. But this camp, like, I'm not sure what's going to happen in the next 15 seconds that could change this camp's availability. I don't know. So I'd rather take it when I know it's safe.
Yeah.
If I'm worried about someone on their team taking that bounty, then I will, but that's usually not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but you can't do this. Okay, well,
Where did Radiant's middle tower go?
crazy shit going on here.
I was.
You
So
should not contest a PA head-on in lane as Jugg, by the way.
okay, even with Omni.
I've learned that the hard way.
Even with Omni, though.
Yeah, she just trades way too good.
Okay,
And
I
like,
feel
my
that.
point is that like, this is how I look at that matchup. I'll actually word it better for you. Based on what you just saw there, anything you can comment on that matchup between your two heroes? Anything you can think of?
Me and PA.
Yeah, based on what you just saw there.
I mean, she lived through my Omni. That was pretty shit.
What about you though?
She crit my face off. Like, so like I have.
So
no
based on what
HP.
you saw in terms of health, what would change what happened there?
Having more health.
Either team having a single hero show up,
Or having heroes, yeah.
literally
for sure.
one hero decides that, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, for sure.
Either way, I learned this, by the way, as well. I didn't know this until recently because of the PA changes. So based on that, when should you contest PA head-on in lane?
If I have someone behind me.
And if you don't have someone behind you, what do you have to be concerned about?
She has someone behind her.
Yeah, so you literally have to act like she has somebody behind you, behind her.
Okay.
I was like,
Yeah, especially with the
play
Nyx
it.
in the game. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's an example of understanding a matchup. I learned that like 2 weeks ago or whatever because I just straight up walked into the PA's lane, or I walked into Jugg's lane and died the same way.
Yeah.
Because he had help and I didn't. That's what happened.
Okay.
But I
Makes
knew
sense.
that I was really close to killing him, but he had the support, and I was like, oh, there's a supporter, I have to run, and then he just killed me because I had to run away. But like, it's like a mana battle that ends up being really close, so it's simply, oh man, that sucks. But it gets tilted one way or the other by one hero being there.
Yeah.
So I like walking bottom. Stout shield's nice.
Tower. Tower is under attack.
So I think I do it again because I'm pretty fucking bad.
How often do you check items?
That not a whole lot.
I mean, I literally heard the deso going off, but if if you know she has a deso,
Yeah.
you can't do it. That's all there is to it. That's just
Okay.
literally checking items. Like, knowing what
because
heroes
you-
are going to contest you and what are relevant to you is the heroes you check. It's that simple. I'm checking
Okay.
Nyx 6, checking Shaman items for, like, Blink or something.
Okay.
Checking if I'm concerned about Abaddon, but he's top and I'm not, so I'm not concerned about Abaddon. I'm concerned about PA for everything I just said. And with Invoker, I'm more concerned about where he is than items. And you go back.
Yeah.
You just, like, rinse and
Well,
repeat.
but my team was coming in though, right? Like
Yeah,
they
but I honestly think if she had like a Nyx there, she could kill you
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
before your team even responds. Like you actually
Yeah.
die instantly to a Nyx step plus the like your team actually has to be on top of you before.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Is how I word that. You have to be understanding if your team can react or not, and like how close is close. You know, like in terms of certain games, how close is close enough is what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this case, I would say not because you literally like I think you agree you died actually.
Yeah, I mean I died almost like twice, yeah. Like yeah.
So this is just a random Roche that I hate. I hate these kind of Roches. Happen a lot in
So okay, so I think I actually called this Roche.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling like since we had the safe lane on their team like pushed to 2, they didn't have a mid tower. We had some kind of vision.
So you have to think about it this way.
Okay.
What if they contest you? Is it possible they contest you?
Yes, it is.
So
yeah.
what do you want if they contest you?
My Omni.
Okay. Don't do that, Roche.
Okay, yeah.
If it's possible for them to contest you,
Yeah.
you need to be able to contest them.
For sure, yeah.
Or it's bad. I actually don't mind the idea of what you're saying in terms of like the lane equilibrium and all that stuff.
Okay.
But you can't just walk in without the ability to actually fight back. That was unfortunate.
I know, yeah, she just crit me. I was so mad, dude. Oh.
Radiant's middle tower. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
glad you didn't TP out of base. That's good.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been working on after watching some of your stuff. Because I was like, oh man, that makes a lot of sense. And I would always TP to lane.
Yep, that was a really good non-TP.
Yeah.
This has actually been real good. Same idea as before, though. Your team wasn't anywhere near you. I don't think you can actually show in lane against the PA. And Nyx, if Nyx is just invis and stuns you out of it, and then PA's there, you just have to act like you have to literally envision yourself dying. How is that going to happen? Is there proof that that's not happening? Okay, you can't show in lane.
Okay.
Like, that's just how it is for me. Like,
okay.
If they're there, you can't possibly reasonably react to that happening. I would actually go Manta this game, as weird as it sounds, because PA's all single target, and then
okay.
Shaman is really weak to Manta as well, because if you see him, you actually just Manta in front of him, and he has no response because he actually dies to your illusions. Like if you touch the shackle you, and your illusions also count for normal hits on wards. And nobody else on your team clears wards very well.
Okay.
The main thing I look at is they're all single target damage, so Manta is just
really Manta's good.
It's just like it lets you frontline really well against PA, and if you don't have Manta, I feel like really awkward.
Okay.
And because I go Manta, I would go Scotty next because of PA and Abaddon, and then MKB is probably the build I'd go here. I'd probably go like Manta, Scotty, MKB.
So okay. So MKB has changed so much that like I don't fucking know when to build it anymore.
I mean, they have a PA, and you're the only.
Is it
like, that's
okay?
Like why
even though it doesn't like pierce evasion anymore.
75%, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you.
It makes her blur 12.5% instead of 50.
Okay, cool.
So you definitely gotta buy it against PA. Like if you're the hero that deals with PA. If you guys had like some other way of dealing with PA, then you don't have to buy it. But like Witch Doctor Ward doesn't go through evasion, Silencer does no damage to PA, Ricky does no damage to PA, even DK has just Fire Breath, so you actually do need to be the one that deals with PA.
Okay.
Actually. Manta makes you stronger at manning up. The Scotty makes you tankier as well as like really good at. It's really good against heroes like Abaddon, because stuns aren't very good against him. So you just hit him and you slow.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the idea. Obviously, SMY is not terrible, and I'm not gonna say like at the end of the day it's still fine. I would personally prefer Manta here, and you end up winning. So the overall aspect is making sure to really understand your limitations in laning matchups. The most important dynamic of any core matchup for you is understanding what will happen based on heroes helping or like what the threat is of each hero to each other. Like you saw in this PA game versus Jugg. Like now after this matchup, I hope you know that like like either hero can kill the other with a little bit of help. And so if you don't have that little bit of help, and unless all 4 heroes on her team are showing, you're like not gonna walk into that lane.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
And that's just something where you have to know that understanding is really important. So all I can tell you is it's different for every carry matchup. And the most important carry matchups for sure to start off with are the ones that aren't even close. Like if it's an early game and I'm a Nyx and they have Ursa, I'm just not going to be in the same lane as that guy. Unless we're like 5-man ganking him or something. I'm just not going to be in the same lane as that guy ever. Like, why? You know? Like the very...
Is that...
Go ahead.
So is that like kind of like what you do... Or like what you did in that game as Jugg, where you just kind of like fuck off, and then if they push the tower, you come back?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Like you have to play, like you have to. I mean, you have to know who you're avoiding and what that hero does. Meaning, like, if I'm avoiding the Ursa, and I know, like, I just gotta see where he plays. Like, and I know his purpose is to kill me. Like, that's why I'm avoiding him. But it's like if my purpose is to trade towers with this hero, meaning like if it's a Luna versus Terrorblade. As Terrorblade, I'll probably dodge the Luna early game because of Eclipse. Like, if a Luna has Eclipse, I'm dodging her. If she doesn't, I'm probably not. And then it's like, I know that the way I'm dodging Luna is if she comes to my lane, I'm probably looking to trade. So I'm going to go to her lane. Like, I'm going to go to their safe lane. Like, knowing why you're dodging and then what you're planning on doing with it is really important.
Okay.
But also knowing if you're in the one that's in the good matchup that, like, you say, okay, I'm in a good matchup.
Yeah.
What do I want to do with my game? What do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm not going to just sit back and farm when I can... Like, that's why I liked your rotation of PA. It's like, what's the guy going to do in the laning stage if you show up as a Jugg with your team? He can't do anything. Like, in this case, like... And more advanced concept is I know as Jugg, if I'm 4v4, I'm way more useful than PA at 8 minutes into the game. Like, in a 4v4 fight, Jugg is way stronger than PA. Like, period.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
in a 1v1 scenario, it's pretty even. So, like, then it's a little bit different. But so, like, I probably wouldn't show up to PA's lane unless my team is doing something. Like, when your DK's there, yeah, it's great for you to show up. But if DK hadn't rotated and it's just you, I don't necessarily think I would go there. Because... You saw what happened in the 1v1 with PA Jugg. Understanding all these random like factors of matchups is something that you just gain over time, but my point is to keep an eye out for it and at least be having it in the back of your mind every time, so that when the shit like this game from PA, you learn from it. Like in my game, I fucked it up. I did. Like I literally showed up to the Jugg's lane as PA, got helped by a support and died. Okay, and it's just it's like, oh, I didn't know that. And so next time around, it's like not gonna do that. Not going to show up to his lane unless I plan to outnumber him. And then I literally said, like, if it's 4v4, Jugg wins it. So I need to not go there as PA if it's going to be a 4v4. Like, I'm not going to show up there. But if Jugg comes to my lane as a 4 heroes and I'm PA, I'm leaving. Like, that's, you know, these are the type of things I'm thinking about. So, okay, man. Cool. Right on. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Right. Yeah, dude, it was great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, dude. See you.
All right, have a good one.
Okay, so that was a longer session, but we did some game leave content too. So that's